Hello, beautiful souls. It's so good to be here with you guys today. And I hope you guys would enjoy this discourse because we are going to talk about why our beloved divine masculines ego panics the moment we stop merging. The shock of our silence, our divine feminine silence, right? So that's why I hope you guys are doing okay, because with the pre full moon energies, things are very heightened, a lot of grief, a lot of pain. You may literally be having dreams of you crying, seeing yourself in other timelines where you may not be in union with your DM, or a lot of pain and grief is being released. So divine feminines are going through, we are just going through a period of deep cleanse and release. So in whichever stage of the journey you may be in, you would be feeling some kind of grief. So that's why today's topic is something as divine feminines we whisper about, because no one actually explains it with real clarity, and I hope I do. And yet it is something every twin flame connection, every one of us experiences it at some point. So today we're going to dive into why our beloved divine masculine's ego panics the moment we stop merging with him, and why our silence feels like a shock to his entire identity, and why our energy withdrawal destabilizes his sense of self. And most importantly, the difference between physical silence and energetic silence, because these two create completely different reactions in his system. So that's why this topic is something very, very close to a lot of us, because this is the moment, the turning point for so many of you, and this is the moment you stop carrying the entire connection, because your soul says no more, and our divine masculines begin to feel the shock of our absence in his emotional field. So today I'm going to take you step by step through the psychology, the energetic mechanics, the karmic memory, and the spiritual truth about what he experiences when your silence begins, right? When our silence begins. So what is the difference between physical silence and energetic silence? And physical silence, we know our DMs are very famous at doing it, right? That physical silence where even when you're still in an amicable situation, they don't message, they don't text, they try to pretend that you don't even exist in the world. They gaslight. I don't want to use the word gaslight, but they kind of like deny all the moments that you may have had in the bubble phase, all that intimacy, all of that spending time together, 12 hours, 13 hours, days, where you're just in your own bubble. That's why I like to call it the bubble phase. I don't know how it somehow, and now it's like bubble phase. And most of us divine feminine think silence simply means stop communication, because that's what our beloved divine masculines have taught us, right? No messages, no calling, no checking in. But physical silence is only on the surface level. That's only the tip of the iceberg. What shakes our beloved divine masculine is not physical silence, it is energetic silence. And energetic silence is when we divine feminine stop merging with our beloved divine masculine. And this is when we stop thinking about him constantly, holding hope for the both of us, anticipating his actions, feeding him energetically, buffering his inner chaos, taking on his pain, stabilizing his identity. This is the silence his ego cannot handle. And as a divine feminine, we can still be physically silent but energetically overmerged. And this is the reason why you may think, right, as divine feminines, we may think, hey, I didn't talk to my DM for 3 years. I didn't message him. I didn't talk to him. It's safe. Now you'll understand that, I don't overwhelm him. And then you turn up at a place he frequents, only to be lashed out at. That, where he says mean things like you're stalking him and you haven't been in contact for 3 years. So probably you're wondering, where does he get this kind of words from? Like where did he go to school to, right? You're probably wondering, does he understand the meaning behind the words he uses on you? Because clearly it's not a case of stalking. It's clearly a public place. It could be a train station, it could be a shopping mall, and you have bumped into him and he lashes out at you saying that, no, you didn't bump into him, you were following him. How is that even possible? But you see, divine masculines can be really mean, but they are the ones, before they say they are not interested in you, would spend 30 minutes in the taxi thinking about what word to use to reject us, right? Or what to say to make sure that you never, you're never in a space again. And then the famous blocking on social media, because he knows that's what hurts us the most, right? So sometimes you wonder, why is our divine masculine doing things which we may have conveyed, like, don't do this to me and this will break me, but he does exactly that, and using words that will crush us, like never ever talking to us again, or never or being so angry, or showing that angry face to us, or like trying to create this illusion that he's never ever going to come back. These are all physical, right? But that is not real silence. Real silence is when we withdraw from the field. So going back, so if you're thinking, hey, you're so disciplined that you haven't talked to your DM in 3 years, you even avoided the places that you was going to frequent, then you're performing. Then you are trying to do something because you're looking for an outcome, right? Oh, if I am good, if I'm disciplined, if I don't message him for 3 years, if I don't talk to him for 3 years, if I don't bump into him in 3 years, he will accept me with open arms when he sees me after 3 years. No. You are actually, that is the moment where you actually realize that you've been performing all a while, and you realize that you were trying, and in twin flame journey, trying never works. It always fails. Because that's not the real silence. Real silence is when we withdraw our energy, and that's what we talk about, in a lot of discourses. Because when our field withdraws, our heart becomes still. We stop tracking our DM. Our intuition stops feeding him. Our energy unhooks. And this is the moment his ego panics, because for the first time he loses the invisible emotional support he has relied on without realizing it. Why his ego panics, right? So let us go deeper, all right? Our divine masculine ego is built around performance, control, self-sufficiency, and emotional distance, right? These are his primary strategies for staying safe in the world. He convinces himself he does not need help. He does not need love. Big one. He does not need love. All the partying, all the evil guy friends who are just, bringing him down the drain with their vices and abuse, alcohol abuse, drug abuse, women abuse, whatever abuse. That toxic friends who try to make him feel that he does not need love, and traveling is enough. Partying is enough. Quitting one's job and being in freedom is enough, right? And that he does not need emotional closeness. Fine, that's what he chooses. But all of this collapses the moment our energy disappears. Because when he's partying, when he's going down his when he's going through his breakdown, when he has lost his job, even then, all we want to do is protect him. So energetically, we are supporting him, right? Telepathically, we are supporting him. We are sending our loves, pails and volumes of energetic love is sent. So he's fine. But when we stop merging, when we start saying no, when he tries to come in telepathically, when we start saying no, his ego panics. Firstly, he loses emotional polarity support. Our energy used to stabilize his emotional fluctuation. Our heart softened his defensiveness. Our intuition guided his confusion, and our presence regulated his nervous system. And the ego hates losing this. Number two, he loses the identity he used to perform around you. Our presence as divine feminines allowed our divine masculine to be a certain version of himself, right? So, as the divine feminine, when we withdraw, he cannot find that version anymore. That arrogant, that version where he treats us like we do not matter, that can't exist anymore. Number three, he loses the reflection he depended on because we were his mirror, right? His validation, his emotional compass. So when the mirror goes silent, his ego has no feedback loop. And number four, he loses control. Ego survives on control. Our silence removes his ability. Our silence removes his ability to read us, influence us, or predict us. So we become unpredictable. That's what I always say in my other discourses. Guys, be unpredictable. That's the best thing we can do for our DMs. Number five, he feels abandoned by our absence. This abandonment does not come from the heart. It comes from the ego's fear of losing its emotional supply. So don't think of it as cutting him off. This is necessary. Number six, he fears the loss of the divine feminine's unconditional energy. So this is the part he took for granted. Like truly took for granted, because energetically we're always there when he was going through a crisis, when his boss was being bad to him, when those parties felt empty, those traveling felt empty, when life felt meaningless. Our unconditional loving energy was there to inspire him to create his apps, to build his business, to run life the way he wanted to. He can deny the divine, but divine is always going to be there. However, the divine feminine, we may not be. So this is the part he believed he could always return to, the part that nourished him the most. So when we stop merging, his ego does not panic, it collapses. So how the panic shows up in his behavior? So the divine masculine will never say he will never say his ego is panicking because he cannot feel us anymore. He will show it instead. And here's how it appears. He becomes irritated for no reason. He becomes emotionally short or cold. He avoids conversation. He becomes hyper-focused on work. He starts distracting himself. He acts indifferent but checks our social media through fake accounts if he has blocked. He has his way. A lot of DMs are technologically advanced, so they have all their ways and means of we see the reason why they even use the word stalking is because they are the ones stalking us divine feminines, through who knows, means that might not completely be right. He might be using a hacking software or something, like divine masculines can be quite a handful, all right? Dreaming about us, becoming triggered by our silence, waiting for us to break the silence, getting angry at us if we are not doing what we always do, being in that weighty pattern, or being in that I'm so sorry even though we have not done anything at all, or apologizing or begging him to talk to us, or being in that powerlessness mode. He replays old conversations. He feels confused without understanding why. So what we interpret as detachment from him is actually panic within him. And why is it that as the divine feminine, merging is his comfort zone? So, most divine masculines are not comfortable with emotional closeness, but they are deeply comfortable with emotional support. They want intimacy without vulnerability, they want closeness without being required to open their heart. So, this is why our merging becomes their comfort zone. We merge into our DM. We anticipate his needs. We understand his wounds. We carry the emotional weight. We chase the connection and we soften every harsh edge, right? And we go and we forgive what others would walk away from, would not even tolerate. We hold space for his fears by absorbing them. That's why it hurts. Because we were trying to be there, as the DM, when we are trying to be there for him, helping him without any kind of expectation, and he lashes out and he, starts behaving like a whatever. So that's why when we stop merging, he loses all of this, and this can only be done energetically. It's not the love he misses, it's not only the love he misses, it's the safety our energy gave him. And that's why the silence makes him face himself without our buffer. All right, I'm just going to check because the last time it didn't record, and I said my mic has has its own life, right? So I'm going to just make sure the last 15 minutes was actually recorded. Okay, it is good. Okay, the next part is why his ego confuses our silence for danger. So when we stop merging, our divine masculine's ego interprets it as rejection, threat, loss of control, loss of identity, emotional danger, exposure of wounds, abandonment, loss of emotional supply. But the soul interprets it as awakening. The ego senses danger, and the soul sees truth. And this is why silence is the beginning of union. It forces our beloved divine masculine to separate ego from soul. So, identity collapse is what happens when our divine masculine begins to realize that the version of himself he performed around us no longer exists in our energy field. He cannot access his confident self. He cannot access his emotionally regulated self. And he's unable to access the part of himself that felt safe in our presence, because everything that was built around us divine feminines collapses the moment we withdraw, and the collapse feels like disorientation, emotional discomfort, fear, anger, frustration, like betrayal. How can we do this to him? He doesn't even see it. You see, DMs actually live more in the head sometimes, and you're like, all that taking for granted, the confusion, haunted memories, ego tantrums, internal pressure, restless energy, inability to forget us. And this is his awakening doorway. He's not collapsing because we have abandoned our beloved divine masculine. He is collapsing because he relied on our energy more than he ever admitted. So the soul responds differently from the ego. While the ego panics, the soul does something else entirely. The ego says, where did she go? That he's not able to feel us anymore and that he's losing control. And the soul says the silence is sacred, the space is needed, this is where healing begins, this is where truth becomes visible, and this is where, as the divine feminine, we are stopping that overgiving loop. And this is where our beloved divine masculine awakens. This is why our silence is a medicine his soul cannot refuse. So the moment he begins to awaken, every divine masculine eventually reaches a moment that shifts the entire dynamic. It is the moment he realizes we as divine feminines have stopped merging with him, and he feels it, and this realization usually happens through an unexpected emotional wave, a memory of our presence. It could be, for example, maybe we were the ones who introduced bubble tea to him for the first time, or it could be something, something that you introduced to him, a part of your culture. It could be it could be anything, an intense dream, missing your energy more than your words, an unexplained longing, an urge to check your social media that he had blocked, of course. But DMs, with especially with their past life technological background and all that, they would find a way around it. Noticing that the silence is different this time, feeling us detached from his heart space, noticing his ego is losing control. This is where awakening begins. Our divine masculine does not awaken through our chasing, he awakens through our silence. So that's why our role in this stage is very, very crucial. When we stop merging, we are not punishing our divine masculine, we are not trying to manipulate him, we are not rejecting him, we are recalibrating the field. Our silence is the moment we stop being his emotional oxygen, and we begin being our own. And when we step back, the entire union field shifts back into balance. And this is why our silence is not abandonment, it is actually alignment. We are teaching our divine masculines how to meet us, how to open his own heart, how to regulate himself to carry his half of the union field. And we do all of this without saying a single word. So, the spiritual mechanics of silence, right? Energetic silence is a recalibration portal. When our energy withdraws, the connection reorganizes itself. And this is what happens. Our energy pulls back into our own field. Our intuition stops tracking him. Our heart stops cushioning his wounds. So what if he had quit his job, or all of his business ventures are freaking failures, or he's trying to do, so what? Why should we? Yes, that's what I mean when our heart stops cushioning his wounds and our nervous system resets. All karmic patterns dissolve, and the third energy begins to stabilize, and the polarity resets, and the connection becomes more balanced, and our divine masculine begins to feel his void. And as the divine feminine, we become more sovereign, and the field prepares for union. That's why silence is not empty, silence is creation. And this is the turning point when our beloved divine masculine realizes that silence is not anger, it is transformation. Silence does not say, I am done. Silence says, I'm no longer carrying both sides. Silence says, we must rise into our pole now. And silence says, we're stepping into a new architecture. And this is the moment he begins to respect our energy. He begins to take the connection seriously. He begins to feel what we have felt all along. So our silence draws him into consciousness. So before we close today's teaching, I want you to take a deep, deep breath and place your hand on your heart. And if you're in this stage where your silence has become the only thing that feels true, I want you to know that you're not doing anything wrong. You're not sabotaging this connection. You're not hurting the bond. You're choosing alignment over overgiving, resonance over survival, and truth over fantasy. Because silence is not abandonment. It's sovereignty. And our silence is the field recalibrating so that our divine masculine can step into his part of the connection. His ego may panic, his mind may resist, his behavior may look confusing, but his part of the soul feels the shift. His soul recognizes the space and it rises in the silence. That's why we are not losing our DM, never are. We are inviting him into awakening. So with that, I hope you guys have enjoyed today's discourse. And if you guys want to work one-on-one with me, you can book the first time twin flame guidance session through the link in description. And for those of you, who are coming back, returning clients, you can book the 1 hour Ask Me Anything You Want session. I've also finally posted, guys, the full moon healing and activations for the 4th of December for this month. This full moon is a very, very intense one, a very, very powerful one. That's why you'll be feeling that you're releasing a lot, clearing a lot. So this healing is for you, truly. Again, I do it over video call. So, I'll be doing it throughout the period. So, I'll keep the healing open till the 7th of December. So if you guys want, you can book your full moon healing session, and we can work out a time. And of course, I can do it remotely too. And so yes, again, because of time itself, there are only limited spots. So if you guys feel drawn to it, you can book the full moon healing and activations for December, because this full moon is truly the positioning of the stars, where it sits, especially with Jupiter retrograde, and it's a cold moon. It's the final full moon of this season, and this full moon is all about expression, reconnection, communication, clearing remnants of things that you may have been carrying about for a long time. So that's why this full moon is a crucial one. The healing is 40 minutes, so it can be done over video call, or it can be done remotely. Guys, if you guys want to work with me, you can book the twin flame guidance, psychic guidance session. It's conducted via Zoom. It's conducted over video call, live by me, so you can ask me all the questions you have during our session. And with that, I'll see you all again for another discourse. I've also introduced other healings and activations. This is an incredible time. This is such a powerful period in our entire soul existence as well. So this is a perfect time to get a soul realignment as well. So if you're drawn to it, go for it. Many of you guys message me, what healing to do. Truly trust your intuition. Always trust your intuition with it. Sometimes you're just drawn to certain things, and always trust your intuition. And I hope you guys have enjoyed this discourse. And again, guys, external teachers like me are here to inspire your internal teachers. So always trust your higher self, your intuition, and remember, the universe has got your back. God is with us always. So much love, so much blessings, and see you all again with another discourse. Take care, and blessings. All right.